to speak. Um, Hello, everybody. This is Elizabeth Clare Brewington. I value each of you because you've given me your time. Time is probably one of the most hardest resource that we have right now. And we are doing our fourth Women Business Empowerment Conference. This is the fourth year. And we've had enormously 2 days of fabulous speakers. We've had 25 speakers and 6 sessions. Everyone was extremely accomplished. So we're very, very proud of this day. I now have an author that I have loved very much and has appeared on our show several times. And she has written a book that is very dear to my heart called Empty Cupboards. And Stacey is a producer, and Stacey will do the rest of the introduction, but she's a very, very accomplished lady and a very extremely busy one. So I am so grateful to have you, and welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Elizabeth, and thank you for asking me to be on here today. So I'm sorry if I look a little haggard. I live in a place called Mammoth Lakes, California, which is in the Sierra Nevada mountains. And we have, without me using any 4-letter words, have had a heck of a winter. And so it's been a Mammoth Mountain actually reached a record for the Sierra Nevada for snowfall. Over 800 inches now on top of the mountain. So and it's been quite the winter, and we're all just exhausted and sick of this. That said, I'm happy to say that my mental health is in a good space right now, because I wrote my book, Empty Cupboards. It got published in September of last year, reached #1 on Amazon, both in Kindle and in my paperback copy. And so I had a bad day for 18 months in 2001. And I was not allowed to fall apart. I had it all together. I had a great job at Paramount Pictures. I had 2 boys, I had a husband, and life was okay, except things started falling apart. The first marriage wasn't that great. There was a whole story there that I wrote in one of the essays of my book, starting with the fact that my first husband broke his leg in the hospital. The hospital put on his leg, gave him 3rd-degree burns. There was alcoholism involved. He was an alcoholic. And so how he dealt with everything that had happened to him, including 13 surgeries. We got pregnant in between all the surgeries and the lawsuits. And just one thing after another kept happening in my life. And after we divorced finally, my brain imploded. And it bothered me to the point where I thought this isn't right, because I'm not, this isn't me. I wasn't supposed to do this. How could somebody like me do this? And so I started researching probably about 5 years ago, because it was still traumatizing for me that I fell apart during a time when my boys needed me most. They started getting into trouble. And what I found out and what I discovered was that for me, and I think this might be true for a lot of people, it wasn't just one event that sent me down the little brain rabbit hole. Several events in my life that had compiled one after another that I had pushed in my little Pandora's box of, I'm just going to ignore this thing. I'm going to pretend this didn't happen. And that box just imploded. And so in this book of 31 essays, there are stories of things that happened to me and around me that possibly could have affected or been a part of the puzzle of why I fell apart. And I knew I was in trouble when I had dropped my kids off at school. I was living in Santa Clarita at the time. I dropped my kids off at school and I was going up our stairs, and I sat down on the stairs and I thought that second, if there was a gun in the house, somebody else would have had to pick my kids up from school. And at that point, I needed help. And so I called my mother. She found a psychologist, psychiatrist, the whole thing happened. I went on disability. I was on Celexa and Wellbutrin for 18 months. I gained a whole bunch of weight. I could do nothing. It was the Celexa and Wellbutrin helped me just stay at a flat line, I want to call it. I wasn't dead, but it's the only way I can describe it. There was no ups, there were no downs. And I remember the day after 18 months, I woke up, and it's the weirdest feeling. I finally felt myself. I finally felt like, okay, this is it. And so I called the doctor and said, okay, I can stop taking these drugs now. I'm better. And he said, whoa, 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 because you can't go off those drugs just like that. You have to wean them off of your body. And so writing these stories was a way for me to share that even me, who never talked about a mental illness, and doing my research, I found out that there was mental illness on both sides of my family, because I came from a family that swept things under the cupboard, under the rug, under the covers, under whatever. We didn't talk about it. I found out that my grandmother on my mother's side was institutionalized a couple times. I found out that my great-grandfather was bipolar. They called it manic depressive back then. And he was actually murdered in a mental institution. And so there's a lot of things that I didn't know was going on in my family because we never talked about it. So my hope with Empty Cupboards is to keep the conversation going about mental health. May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm booking myself on all sorts of podcasts and speaking engagements. I'm saying myself because I did self-publish this book. I wanted to have the experience of self-publishing, and it is exhausting to be your own marketing person and publicist. But I'm very grateful that this book is doing so well, and it just kind of keeps going. People are calling me for engagements that I never thought I would get. I've been on several podcasts with it. And I just encourage everybody here that if you're having a bad day and then you have another bad day and you have another bad day, find however it is, to get help. I used to be one of those people that thought, oh, when my friends with mental health illness said, oh, if they're having a bad day, I say, oh, go do a yoga class. Oh, go for a walk. It doesn't work like that. And when it happened to me, I realized it's some serious stuff. So if we don't get help with our mental health, then everything else is going to fall apart, everything else. Because if we're not healthy up here, everything below the neck is just going to go to waste. And so I just appreciate the time to talk about this book. And I'm just excited it's doing well. We're actually trying to push it. There's 31 stories. I'm also a screenwriter, so we're trying to push it into a television series. So if anybody of you know a producer who might want to make this into a television series, let's get on board and do that. So I really appreciate your time, and it's lovely to see all you beautiful women. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, good. I look so much better. I've been so exhausted that my photos have been all crazy. But I want to say that, Stacey, first of all, to talk about a mental illness and about yourself and being so open, I applaud you for that. I mean, this is such a difficult journey and you've done it so graciously. Your book is just really so empowering and I have enjoyed reading it. And everyone, please get a copy of the book, snap a photo, you know what we're all about, and subscribe to Brightside Global Trade. And when you have mental illness and you are an executive or a CEO at a company, or you're running your own business, the pace that this world is demanding of us makes you really need to be in touch with yourself. So I hope you've talked to some great people, and you're watching Brightside Global Trade TV. And thank you, Stacey. I've got so many speakers today. I'm just jumping with overjoyed.